At OPA Society meeting. We are happy to have our general membership meeting today on November 14th and begins at 9 o'clock. So we can call the meeting to order, right? Yeah, at 9 o'clock a.m. and we'll be recording. So hello, everyone. We are going to go through all of our board member reports, and we are lucky enough to have Mr. Wright here and Mrs. Fricker from the executive board. So thank you for coming, and we're excited to hear from you guys, and as well as everybody that is here so far. So we'll get over everybody's report and open it up at the end for questions and any other discussions that we have. So my name's Tammy Nowzeri. I'm the president for Honor Society this year. And I am just going to start by saying thank you to everybody that helped us out with our biggest event this last month, which was our Fall Family Fest. And our chair people aren't here with us today, but Trinity Douglas really hit it out of the park this year and led us to an amazing event, which Andrea will summarize up for us in a little bit when she talks about all of our fundraising efforts. And as well, we had our other big event this year, which was our bubble run, and Trisha Sullivan did an amazing job heading that up this year. So thank you to those two ladies for stepping up this year and really helping our funds and our kiddos and everybody have a great time and our bank account grow. That was amazing. So I will pass it over to OPA Saddleback Valley Administration. And Mr. Wright, take it away.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
As always, you guys are amazing. Without your support, we couldn't do so many things that we do. Between the bubble run and your support for Dia de los Muertos events, like all the things that make OPA. OPA is due to all of your support and all the parent support. But thank you all so much again for all that you do. I look, we got our niche award this year. We are the #1 charter elementary school in Orange County, and we're the #3 charter elementary in the state of California. That's such a great accomplishment. It's such a great recognition that for our staff of everything they do, but really, we can't do all that we do without your support. And so we really appreciate all that. Kind of going through a little bit of, we always say we do all the things, we win all the awards, right? So another award we got this year, we are a platinum level PBIS school, which is the highest you can go. I keep saying like we're OPA, we shoot for like diamond. Is there one more level we can go to show how good we are? Dr. Henry keeps telling me to stop, and no, we can only top out at diamond. So, congratulations to our staff and students for doing that and achieving that goal. That takes a lot of work and a lot of buy-in from all of our staff and kiddos. We had a fire drill this morning. Some of you that were here saw that. I was telling Dr. Fricker, our fire drill from the time we announced students to leave till we announced them on to go back to class was 6 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So we took approximately 550 kids from their classrooms to the field and back to the classroom in 6 minutes. That is a huge accomplishment to get them lined up, attendance taken, to move all of those people in one direction and back. Really, like, it's a small snapshot of how amazing our kids are. Dr. Berger and I were saying, like, we both come from secondary, so we're used to having 2,800. She had over 3,000 kids in a fire drill. None of those ever took 6 minutes.
I know.
So it's awesome to watch all of our kiddos out there. We've had a lot of events over the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to have all of the events. We are 1 week away from Thanksgiving break. We are 4 school weeks away from winter break. We have a lot of things coming up. Some things coming up in the near future. On Tuesday, we have our OCDE visit where they come to certify us for another year and see all the great things that we do. So we will have them on campus certifying both us and the middle school at the same time. So it's the first time we've had them doing both, which we're really excited about because it now is a combo presentation for me and less and over there equal amount. We have, what else? Next week, we have our 5th grade performance, the science of stuff. I was called-
Can you hear 'em?
Oh, science stuff.
They're practicing.
So if you like science puns, the science of stuff is where you want to be, and I do love a good pun, as many of all of you know. I do love a good pun, so science of stuff is one of my favorites. So excited that's come out. Monday we have our first trimester awards, so be on the lookout if you haven't gotten. You should, students receiving award should have gotten an email from their professors already. That is a great opportunity to share the achievement of all of our champions. You know, we give awards only to a few students, so of each specialty, but we spread it out over the year. There's many more that are deserving, but we do definitely try to spread it out. So, you know, if your student did win one this year or this trimester, you know, hopefully they can get one next trimester, because we do have amazing kids that we could probably give one to every kid every trimester. Tuesday through Thursday, we have majors next week. Making academic jumps. Just like what is, I always forget what the O is. Over rigorous standards. When I came here and was introduced to majors, it was definitely a unique thing that I saw, but watching teachers really get excited about giving kids some options and those opportunities for those majors. And I know, you know, as a parent, my son over the last 2 years has been really excited for the options out there for majors. So as soon as he got his paper that afternoon, he's like, "Yes, here's what I want to do. I need to sign it. I got to turn it in. I want to make sure I get this." And so, you know, like I said, I think kids get really excited, and it's great for our kiddos to be able to meet other professors. I think that's the nice thing, is they're not necessarily with their classroom professor, they're with another professor. And opportunities for our community. It's great for our professors to know other kids, either kids they may have in the future, kids they've had in the past, or even kids that they've never had in their class. So on Friday, the 22nd, that morning, we'll have our majors video where kids come in and professors send all of their photos and stuff to Miss Reen. This is one of Miss Reen's babies, and she puts this presentation together so all the kids can see themselves on the big screen in honor hall and cheer and hoop and holler and that. And then, also on Friday, we have Friday the 22nd, we have our first grade Thanksgiving. So once again, we do all of the things. There is something pretty much every week between now and winter break. So, you know, we encourage all parents to come out to these events and support your children. You know, yesterday was Kinder Fashion Show. For those of you that were here in Kinder and had Kinder Fashion Show, it's super cute event. It's a bunch of parents. Oh, it's really quick. Yeah, it only took us about 20 minutes to get through the entire alphabet and walk them up and sing a song. But our Kinders were fantastic as always. Yeah, we're moving right along. I'm gonna. Here's Dr. Fricker, and she's gonna give some more information.
So first and foremost, I just want to thank all of you for all of the work that you do. I think it's absolutely outstanding and just phenomenal. So thank you for all of the plans, preparations, details that you put into these things to bring things to life, because that's really where the magic happens. So, to write, like, the schools could not function to this level of optimacy if we did not have all of the parent volunteers and groups like yours together. So I appreciate you greatly and wanting to be in support of what you do. Just coming to a couple meetings throughout the year so that I get an understanding of what it is that you do throughout all of the months, right? I've only been for a couple of months. So when I get through all of the months of the year, then I'll see all of the projects and things. But then what is it that we can do from a central office or an administrative standpoint to support the work that you do? How can we enhance or move things or make things easier, you know, for you guys to really bring these things to life on the students' behalf, and the family's behalf. So we really truly have a sense and wanting to do that. In terms of all 3 honor societies, Dr. Kieran, Meg, and I are attending some of these meetings to understand, like, how do we align? Where do we strengthen in between the schools as you feed into the middle school and as the two elementary schools do their own things? Sometimes honor societies support certain events and making sure that we are your partner in that. So if you're, say, doing an initiative, what's the other school doing so that there's parity? Where do we step in? And where do we help as central organization in terms of the administration and the budget side of things? You know, so how do we balance that, or how do we work together to do those projects in a way that both validates what you're all doing and make sure that you feel valued and supported for the work that you're doing, but that we feel like, and you feel like we're doing our part too. And I think that's an equal part of the partnership. So we're really wanting to, over the next couple of years, kind of develop that and finesse that and see between the three element or the two elementaries and then the middle school, that there's parity in terms of what you support, and how that could look, you know. So students may come between the schools and also they're going to be filtering all are going to be filtering at some point to that middle school level. So that continuity is important, and how to support that, we are happy to do that. So any pointers, any guidelines, any, like, if we could only do comments is really helpful. I always tell everybody, you can be as critical as you want about anything. It's just be kind, because we're all humans, you're all humans on the other side of those things. And so we truly have a desire to be your partner. So things may not always go perfect. There may be things that you see that if we could only change this, or why does this happen? Those are all fair game. We should have conversations about that, and then we should, you know, build the better future, so to speak, moving forward. So we are excited to do that with you. I just want to echo all of the things that you have going on. Are so great. I never did a fire drill in 6 minutes ever. Super impressive for me. And I was a science teacher, so I will be at the science of stuff. Have in my calendar to come, so that's an exciting play for me to come and see all the kids do so well. And then, you know, just from the central office, I do know we have a couple initiatives on the horizon. One, we did the needs assessment, so thank you all if you participated in that. Those voices are really, really important. Like I said, you can be critical about absolutely anything. It does not matter. Just be kind. We're all people. It's about the thing that we're talking about, not the humans behind it. And because when we do have conversations about this is what our needs are, or this is how this looks for us, or this is how we experience it, then we know from your lens, then how to make that, how to shift things, or how to tweak or change things down the line, or even how to plan to do those types of things, you know, down the line. And it helps us as we move our needs assessment, which usually happens in the fall, to the strategic planning, so that we are aligning, continuing to be innovative. If we don't make it a priority, it's not going to happen. So that strategic planning is more focused on how do we stay the number one in the school and the number three charter school in the state. Like, how do we keep innovating, keep growing, or keep being our next best 2.0 versions of whatever. Now, we thank all of the administration and the staff and the volunteers for getting us to this point. That was a great feat, but now it's our ball to take forward, right? So we have to make sure that we're continuing to strive to be our best, and those high rankings, and the student achievement is number one for me, to keep at the forefront of our minds. So those voices in the needs assessment are really, really essential. We really want to know all the nitty gritties, and then we can build better plans moving forward. And then the last thing that I'll share and talk about is just our quest for a new board member. So we're really encouraging people to, if you want to or have a desire to do that. We did have a search way back in May, but now 6 months has passed. And so we were expecting Paul at any month to resign from the board. He selected to resign from the board at the very end of his term. So it was a little bit later than what we thought. So we're reopening up that search just to make it fair and equitable for everybody. If it happened within that 6 month time frame, we would have probably just gone and searched the prior search. But we want to follow to make sure the way that we should, and opening that back up. We encourage, you know, especially members from ours. I know that you do a ton, and you've also so I'm fully the understanding of that. But if you know great people, let us know, and then We hope to have a new board member by January. And round out the board. We thank Paul for his service, obviously. Doing it from Norway has been a challenge on both ends of that spectrum, so, but we've managed, and, you know, I think it's time to kind of have that new 2.0 version of the board as well, and we just thank him for his, you know, incredible service over the years, so. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully that will be wrapped up and the new person will be announced, either at the December 12th board meeting or then, at the January. Just depending on how that goes. So that's it for me. Any questions for me? Yes.
I do. It's not really a question, just a statement. Prior to your arrival, our Chief Operations Officer was able to get the 3 honor societies together, and it was supposed to be something we were doing either on an annual basis or a biannual I don't know what the goal was because it got cut short. But it was really great to get the honor societies together with an executive board member there to be able to talk about best practices and recommendations. So at that time, the executive member was able to give us like leads on if we needed legal counsel, if we need an auditor, if we needed a tax person. Like, it was really great. And it's right when the middle school was just starting up. So I know that it helped them quite a bit, and it helped us come together as honor societies to talk about what does that look like for us to be in line, you know, with OPA and the standards that they have, as well as if there's any vendors that you have that are vetted that could be shared. It was just really a neat concept, and I would just urge and recommend that perhaps we get back on track with that so we can have that continuity between, you know, all pieces, I guess.
We just talked on Friday, we just debriefed the needs assessment on the 8th on Friday, and we talked about that very thing. So how do we get, so there was just the different lists of, needs assessment. I wondered if the honor societies would support, you know, the different, you know, things that came up. And I said, before we do that, like, let's just come together. The chancellor obviously should be there too, representatives from all 3 of the groups, Dr. Kearney, myself. And then our CBO is we're currently awaiting their first child. So he's out of service for a couple of weeks, but yes, he will be involved too, obviously from that fiscal side and that operations side. And we do hope to plan on, you know, from maybe like January to June or something of that nature. We have to set a date. We did talk about that actually last Friday.
That's good.
Just to make sure that we're all on the same page. And again, it doesn't matter like what the situations are. It just, let's talk about them and then figure out like a good solution or what honor society feels comfortable with versus another honor society. And you can be different, but there should be some strands that are the same. And then there should be some partnership, obviously, and contribution from our. So,
Sure.
January is a good time frame just because it's ahead of our budget building. So we can plan accordingly. And then June is like a nice, you know, check-in time. So as the year ends, you can debrief the year, then you can kind of say, what would we want now for the next year? And we have plenty of time over that summer months to kind of put those plans into place. So.
Good.
But yes, it's a great suggestion.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we obviously raise money so that we can give it back to the school. And we come together as a board and we talk with administration and staff and everybody, and we come up with some great ideas how we would like to fund the school year with the money that we spend. And so sometimes we run into hiccups with like how to get things for the school, like right away. There's like a process to go. So maybe there's like a way to share the process so that all of us can get together and like work on the process together so that we can give the school back immediately after we raise money, because sometimes what happens is we're struggling at the end of the year. Like last year it happened too. So we had to frantically try and find what's a good way to spend this money. And we ended up being able to support the music department, which was awesome. And so this year we tried to put a plan in action earlier in the very beginning of the year so that we wouldn't have to run through that and plan the money accordingly. But now we're running into problems like a little bit, okay, well, we need to get things approved or whatever, but maybe I already thought with our board that it was approved. So we're just kind of at a standstill, I guess, of how to spend our money. And we want to make sure that the parents and the families that have donated so generously are able to see the fruits of all of the money that have been donated to the school. So maybe you guys could help on that, like process or, I don't know.
And typically we would meet in the summer. So, even before Mr. Wright was here, we would meet in the summer and look at our calendar and then say, like, this is what we want the money to go towards. We would all agree on that, and then we would move forward making that happen. But then when you would get to the actual programs of the planning, so for example, last year there were a theater program and a sports program that did not get implemented, which kept like that was $45,000 that was just hanging there. And so that's why we had to come back together because we couldn't get the approval or the time. Like you just listed off all the events that we're doing. So those educational minutes are so precious to the teachers because they have to do all these other things. So we don't really want to take away from that. We just want to be able to enhance it. And so as Tammy was saying, it just kind of keeps us in a lurch because we don't know. And we had to spend that money.
I know, and it's good, they're
Right.
good things, it's for really, really good things. So I think coming into the organization, just doing a quick assessment of like what would help, because I have experienced the exact same thing. It's like, what's the process for this? Well, we don't know, or we kind of do this, or in the past we've done that. But sometimes it's not like this well laid out sense or systematic, like best practices, right? That currently exist. So Dr. Kierman, who's in charge of communication, we have come together to identify some of these things that aren't really streamlined or ironed out. And then we're trying to work with the chancellors and put in systems or processes that would iron those things. So the second thing that we thought of too is just developing like some sort of guide. Like we have staff handbooks, we have student handbooks. It would be like your volunteer or your community organization type handbook, so that this lives somewhere. Like all of these things, how-tos, and all of the steps that would be required if there are sometimes they're not, but some of the bigger things that we do requires different systematic step processes. So outlining all of those, I know Katie's working on that currently. And that's part of, coming here to each one of the honor societies and saying, is that something you would welcome? We can definitely put that together. But then it would ease out like the how-tos. And even if you had people changing office positions or you have new, volunteers coming in to orient them. So as a new person or coming into an organization, if it's not kind of laid out systematically, you kind of wonder. And so I'm like, I don't know what's happened in the past. And then you really should have something like solid going forward. And then if we change it every year, we can annually review it. We can change it every single year. If we need to, and then republish that back out so that we're always current. They can live like a Google folder, and so everyone will have access to it, that needs access to it. There's many ways that we can do that for you. That's really our job to do for you, and I totally hear the sentiment and welcome it because I think it's needed to. And then the third thing that's going to help really is going through that needs assessment and that strategic planning. So you being seeing from a different lens what's needed in the schools or what's needed on your end of your organization as a partnership with our schools, then be vocal in that. That's part of the plan process to get it on the docket for consideration. And in the spring, we can just strategically plan on the spring would be for the following year, not the current year that we're in. So that we're always ahead of what initiatives you're wanting to do next year. That doesn't mean something can't come up and, oh, this is a really great idea. We can definitely accommodate all those great ideas that just kind of manifest at different times. But for the bigger things, like if it's a structural thing or if it's a programming, thing, then maybe we want to have forward thoughts of all of our offices get together in support of whatever it is that you're doing. And then we find vendors or we find different things or we, get different quotes or we help you in that journey, whatever it is that you want to do. So we're willing to be that partner to you. I really act as this amazing foundation in terms of generating funds, but also generating very good positive culture across our campuses. So we want to make sure that we are in support of that as well. So I think those things will help, although they're not helping immediately right now. In January, I think some of those things will be solidified, like the first drafts of things will be solidified for your review. And the first draft is only our best first shot of trying to get it on paper, and we're trying to get it in some sort of document form. And then we can tweak and check and edit from that point forward as to what's gonna be working, best optimally between the two organizations. So, I think that if we do that in January and we do that in June again, and we solidify maybe the plans that you have, then we know what we have to do to support you too, on that initiative. And then I think that will help.
Oh, yeah.
And so that would be our good first step. And then this year is kind of like we're seeing as things go along. And then where we need to make those tweaks and changes, like we're happy to. Anything else? Right, but thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So that will bring us to Dell, our president.
Hi, how are you? Thank you everyone for being here today. I'm just gonna report quickly on the Snack Shack, events that we had. We had two thus far. The first one was hit it out of the park, we actually. So, and then the second one, well, we had the holiday weekend coming up, so, it wasn't as successful, but overall they both were. We ended up collecting about 495 for both events. The next one is supposed to happen next Friday. We're gonna discuss that because then we have the holiday weekend, so we're just gonna, it will most likely happen. We're just gonna make sure that people are not, bailing out of town early to the fall break and Thanksgiving and all the time. A lot of people.
Please come to school, it's only half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by like noon, you'll see like everybody's out. And then, so we'll discuss it today, later on, but most likely will happen and hopefully the turnout will be great as well.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna not have it, we have to vote because it's on the calendar.
Okay.
So I think, I'm okay with having it as long as we have people host it. I think the kids like it. They have fun. They look
Love
forward to it.
Yeah.
I've already had my kids ask me every day and all their friends. So I think.
Oh, that's the case.
Yeah, just have it, and then, it's okay if it's not like, big money maker, it's all just the kids love it.
Yeah, if it's a wash, right?
Yeah.
We're doing our job.
Yeah.
But I think too, just communicating more with the teachers, right? Making sure that they get that in their newsletter on that Friday as a reminder. And again, if we want to try to do a flyer of some sort, I know the printing is crazy, but you never know if that's gonna, be the thing, right?
Just send out like an e-flyer, just that people just get it in that, because I don't know about last time, but sometimes, and especially the time before that, a lot of people found out that, right? So to your point, just getting out a message like maybe a couple of days earlier than
Yeah,
we did
yeah.
last time.
Sure.
And then-
Maybe Mr. Wright could send a message today.
Yeah, I think you sent out a message actually last time, the first time we did it, Snack Shack's back and it's, bring cash.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
Get a slice of pizza.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was a good idea.
Sure.
Yeah,
Pizza.
yeah.
Well, and, because there's also, usually we have pizza for school lunch, so it's like a double pizza, like you get your school lunch pizza and beyond, it's like pizza galore.
Yeah, well, school lunch pizza will only give you one slice and that's not enough pizza for anyone.
Right.
I had,
Yeah.
just a thought on that. That is the Friday before Thanksgiving, and some buses are doing Thanksgiving feasts, so that will make it all food.
Let me do it on the Wednesday.
But
Maybe can we do it on a different day?
Mhm.
Or maybe
Wednesday?
we just don't do
I don't
pizza,
think
we
everybody,
do more
I think
traditional
only
snack
first
time.
grade might just be
Third grade is doing little.
toast and jelly beans.
Okay.
But yeah.
Interesting.
That was gonna be a fact.
Or we can do it, and we'll just probably do what we did the first time, get 4 pizzas, and then, or 5, not 6, and then just.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff doesn't go to waste, right? We use it
Use
for the
it.
next one.
We
So
eat it.
The pizza that also goes, to your point, doesn't go to waste.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll get it.
because we know who's gonna eat it.
Yeah.
So- So, yeah, I think, well, we are.
Okay, so we'll just start promoting it. We'll get that all sent out and do our site. Okay,
And then we're gonna, I'll send a reminder to teachers because they're putting together the Friday messages, they put them together today.
okay.
So, we'll get that out to them so they remember.
Do you want me to email them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there Boys and Girls Club next Friday too? At YMCA?
Yeah.
So that way we can, because if we let them know too,
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the kids go there early on Fridays, right? So then they can let the kids know, hey, or maybe
Okay.
just bring all the kids.
I'll email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Guess I should send money.
Okay. Cool, so we got that plan?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Jen, you're up with fighting.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer Miller and I'm over finance. Okay, so a couple things for each meeting, we typically go over the financials for the last period, which I'll touch on, but the first thing I wanted to mention was that we had an audit for last year's books. I'm new, this is actually my first year to be over finance, so there's still a few little wrinkles I think we've still been ironing out. You've still done a great job. But one of the audit recommendations was to streamline the cash handling procedures. It's the one thing that sometimes can get a little tricky because most everything we have is digital. So there's digital trail that's easy to follow, but we do use a cash box for most of our sales. So Spiritware, Youth Uniform, Bell Family Fun Night, we collected $2,000 worth of cash between two cash boxes. Snack Shack, we do a lot of cash. So sometimes it's more than others. Snack Shack, last time we had like a $132 deposit, but then with Fall Family Fun Night, it was $2,000. So that was my goal over the last couple months, is to try to get a more clear process. And so the bylaws state that 2 board members should be depositing each deposit, which I think just wasn't happening, but we did have a check in place, which was 2 people are always counting the money. And it's getting recorded on a sheet, on a piece of paper. And then that gets all sealed up for the deposit. So for the most part, it was working okay, but then I think there's still possibilities for that cash kind of getting lost along the way. So I came up with a new cashier report. Sorry, it's the second one.
Oh,
Or you can click on that. Sorry, you can click on that first one. So I wrote up this process, these procedures. We don't have to go through all the details, but basically we have $100 of petty cash that we keep in the box at all times. It eliminates the amount of cash going back and forth, and the cash withdrawals that need to be made. And that's noted on our financials on our balance sheet. At the start of each event, 2 people will count beginning cash. After the event, they will count the ending cash. So both amounts will get recorded to verify that there was 100 to start with. We'll count the ending cash. $100 cash and small bills will be counted back out and placed back into the cash box for the next event and noted at the bottom. And then we will scan, since we use Google Drive to upload and keep track of all of our like PDFs or invoices or receipts and everything. What I'm asking is that whoever's counting the box, usually I'm there, but sometimes I'm not, that somebody scans it with their phone and uploads the cashier report that we've completed up to the Google Drive. So then we have kind of like the start of a paper trail saying, okay, here we have this cash, we counted it, we verified it, and now there should be a deposit receipt that then will go with this cashier report. And the cashier report and the cash will get sealed in an envelope and placed back in the safe. And then we will decide when 2 board members can take the cash together to the bank and deposit it. So maybe, you know, for something like Fall Family Fun Night where there was $2,000 cash, we would maybe the next Monday go. But otherwise, I think we could do it every 2 weeks, or at the end of the month, we can take all the cash at once.
I like it.
So I feel really good about this. We can kind of go through it and see how it works, but then I think this way we have paper trail when somebody comes in and audits, they can see that the cash was verified by 2 people, that there was a start of a trail by uploading it to the Google Drive, and that will connect with the deposit receipts, and there really shouldn't be possibility for cash to go missing or get forgotten. And this is the cashier report. So it has starting cash, ending funds, and if you scroll to the bottom, Teresa, it was a place where then you can back out the amount that was placed back in the box, and then we can back out that out to a final deposit amount. And all of this gets saved into our Google Drive for the auditor to check.
that's amazing. No, it's amazing. Yay. We needed that.
Yeah.
No, we totally needed that.
I think more than anything, I mean, as the VP of Finance, I also want to protect myself, and I want to make sure when I go back at the end of the month, obviously I'm reconciling and making sure that everything that has been done has gone through the bank, but even for me, I'm like, okay, did I get every deposit that, was there? Did I get and forget to deposit anything? And so I just want to make sure that it just, the process is a lot more streamlined.
Great.
Okay, so then the financials. Some of these are fairly detailed, like the budget versus actuals, which is Teresa's pulling up there, a lot of line items. A few of the other board members will touch on the details, so I won't bore you with every line item, but they are available if anybody wants to look at it in more detail. If we just, I think what we should highlight is total income. November 12th was the budget, we budgeted 83,000, we're already at 68,000, which is 81% of total income thus far. That's largely attributed to the Jolly and Fall Family Fun Night, which we just completed. And then if you scroll down to expenses, you'll see there are a lot of line items that we still haven't hit, like programs expense. We have each grade gets an allotment for different programs that they do. There's also school events in the next section, like International Day, Polar Express will be in December, and other enhancement activities. We also give the teachers a classroom support grant expense. If you scroll down a little bit more, Teresa.
Oh, it's on the next one? Okay. Oh, sorry. Whoop. Whoop.
So classroom support grant expense, we allot 10,000.
Oh, you rolled it up.
for the
Okay.
teacher. Each teacher gets $450 to spend on items for their classroom. And you can see they've already been utilizing that, buying different things, and it's exciting to see what they buy. Lots of supplemental materials and things to enrich their classrooms, so I think voice, pride from the whole society board that we are able to help enrich the classrooms in that way with the money that we raise. So
Because things got more expensive, so.
yeah, we have a good process in place for that. So there are some checks on, they request things, they can go through an Amazon business account that we have, and it will ship directly to the school, and there's an approval process to make sure that they're ordering things in line with the grant guidelines. So then we scroll all the way down to the bottom. Teresa, you can see that our total expenses are 33,000, so we're at about 41% of our budget. I think that this is a great snapshot of how our board and our committee heads work really well together. Everyone's very conscientious of the budget and stays within the budget, and we're all together and creative with the things that we're purchasing and asking to be donated because prices have gone up, but I think it's been really good so far. The next financial report is the income and expense. And I guess that's just a more summarized version of what we just went over, but you can see some of the main income and expense line items. Again, I think Andrea and Aaron will touch on a few of those as well in a moment, but total income as of November 12th, $68,348.
So great.
And I'm not touching. Yeah, okay. And then if you scroll down to expenses, please, total expenses again is 35,269. Expenses are 33,000, so we're in a surplus right now.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Reserve.
Yes, but it's not a reserve, which I'm gonna touch on. So if you go to the balance sheet, financial report, I want to highlight something, another change since our last meeting. So if you see on our assets, we have our checking is at $55,000. Our petty cash stays at 200, as I explained, and then we have a reserve fund of $25,000 that the board has voted on in the past to always maintain a reserve of $25,000, which is very typical for nonprofit organizations. In a case of emergency or things changing drastically, we have that money. We decided to have that money work for us, and we deposited it in a certificate and a CD at Wells Fargo for like, it's a 6-month maturity at 4.5% interest, I think. So in the last month, we've already made $85 of interest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Matures in April, so then we'll reevaluate if we'd like to keep it that way, but for now, at least it's working to our advantage to have it specifically in this season. So at this point, we have $55,000. You know, we still have expenses for the rest of the year for some of our programs, but as we have previously discussed, the work plans. Specific plans in place, but we're still trying to kind of work on getting it for school enhancement. Yeah. We're touching on that.
We can talk about, I mean, yeah, we can talk about it. The programs that we're trying to approve were the marquee for the school and then the typecastic program and the IXL program for the teachers, so. Things that we've been working hard to raise the money for, and we'd like to get those back to the teachers, so as soon as we can figure out how to do that, we will.
Are there any questions about financials? Comments?
I think it looks great. I think the report, the past year report is definitely did that. And everything's so easy to read now, correct? Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so that will bring us over to our student development guru, Jill.
Oh, see, it's you.
Yeah.
I am Jill, I'm the VP of Student Development. So far this year, we had our first assembly, which was the BMX bike assembly, which is always like the very first thing we do of the year, first Friday of school, and it gets kids really excited. So that was a fun success. And then we are finalizing our spring assembly. We have narrowed it down, and now we're just kind of working on dates, making sure we find your the calendar. I got together with administration and have decided that this year we're going to do a science themed assembly for the spring.
I like that.
Which you'll be fine. And then Blackwell's the beginning of the year was we had the book fair. And we had a lot of activities happening. So September Blackwell's unfortunately had been postponed. So we've only had one Blackwell so far this year. It was a big success. I think all the kids had a lot of fun, got a lot of good things. And then there's not Blackwell scheduled for November, but our next Blackwells will be on December 3rd. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's the school store. That's where the kids, they earn their PBIS scholarships for excellent behavior and above and beyond. They get to use those scholarships as their payment for buying things at our store. We are always welcoming donations. If anybody wants to donate anything for the store, we love that. And
Yeah, things are getting quite expensive these
yeah,
days.
inflation is still handling. I think it's going to be great. We're going to be pretty close to being on budget. I'm trying to remember.
Is there like a wish list for Blackwell's donations?
I could make one.
Our Kinder families are so eager this year to donate. I think they'd be really excited to donate Blackwell's.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great.
Because we have a budget.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd be happy to. We're gonna
Okay.
get stuff for Kinder.
That's a good
Oh,
idea. So we'll put that in the newsletter and maybe
Thank you.
in the woof, we can put
Getting out there.
donations.
I think I'm set. We're probably set for December, but for the rest.
Yeah.
You could do an Amazon wish list and provide the link.
Yeah, perfect. I actually have an Amazon which was like already from May.
All right.
Does anyone have any questions or any comments about assemblies or Blackwells?
Excited for this spring assembly. That sounds fun.
Jill's done a great job of getting all kinds of really exciting little gifts and toys for the kids. They
Yeah.
seem really excited. Yes.
Yeah, there's some hot items like. Those, we will get those again. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so communications. Susan, do you have anything last minute?
Everything.
Nothing? Okay. There's no calendar update, so that's Recording secretary, we do.
No report.
Okay.
Everybody's doing good.
Parliamentarian, we don't have a report because we don't have a parliamentarian. Any of you out there would like to come into our wonderful group of ladies and gentlemen here and help run and support our sport programs, we need you. So parliamentarian and community programs is as well an open position. So if any of you lovely parents out there would like to come help support community programs, that's another great one. You will do the jobs like Snack Shack, giving back to the teachers in the school, grade level meetups. You have flexibility to add or take away things that are part of that. It's really a very flexible position, but just something that really enhances and brings together the students, the staff, the community through events and communication. So that sounds like something you like to do. This would be a great job for you. And parliamentarian, that would be kind of the bylaws back of the house, how we're doing things, making sure we're following all the rules. Luckily, we've had some of us on the board be that position before, so we still have that guidance. So that's very helpful, but if you do like those things, we have a position for you. So come talk to us. Fundraising, Andrea, I will take it away and tell us about all of our fun things.
So Andrea Mays, for those who don't know me, VP of fundraising. This is also my first year at OPA, so I'm learning as I go. But I'll just kind of go through what we've done in October, what we have upcoming in October, in November and December. So October, obviously, we've talked a lot about it. We had Jogathon, super successful. We raised just under 48,000. We were at 47,923, which was our biggest Jogathon yet. So amazing. Thank you to all of the incredible families that stepped up and donated. And obviously to Trisha, who just executed the event flawlessly. Pumpkin City, we raised just over 2,000. We were at 2,242. That was a really, I think Tammy, you went to that event. I wasn't able to attend, but really fun community event that also brought in some extra cash for us. So that was a great thing when you compare those things together. And then obviously our most recent Fall Family Fun Night, which is more of a community event, but also ended up being one of our biggest fall family fun nights that we in terms of what we raised. And we raised 8,734 before our expenses. So that was fantastic.
That's the biggest one since the second year we've been open.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's great.
It was.
It was a great event.
One, I haven't seen that in a long. But also helped too, teaming up with the middle school, there was a lot of good that happened with that, where big brothers, big sisters, got some like the partition, so I think that helped me. Yeah, it was cropping until the very end.
That's good.
Yeah.
They could have kept it another.
Yeah.
Sun went down.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And obviously a huge shout out to Trinity, who executed that event and spent a lot of time gathering donations and coordinating everything so that we could have a successful silent auction.
Yeah, she really got a lot of donations. Like
Yeah.
all those auction items were free for us. Like we didn't have to buy any of them. The accepted class baskets, of course, were donated from the classrooms. And then all the events and the cookies and everything, she got all of that donated. So that probably helped us a lot.
And she even baked some.
Yeah, she made
yeah,
most
she
of the
made
cookies. Yeah, she made. Those cookies were delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious. Yeah. Yeah.
Place to be. So some really successful events in October, which obviously you guys saw when we went through finance. November, we actually have a spirit night tonight. So if you guys don't want to cook, go to Mendocino Farms over in Mission Viejo, grab yourself some healthy food and support OPA. I didn't write it down, but I think it's 30%. It's 30%.
30%, yeah.
So,
And it's
And it's from 2 to close, yeah.
so go, 2 p.m. So go this afternoon.
You can pre-order online.
Then go get a late dinner. Some
Yeah.
OPA, that comes back. So a great opportunity for us there. And then with December, we're doing a couple of things. We have Spirit Night coming up on 12/17 at Ice Sandwiches over in Lake Forest. Again, that's 30% back. So, and that will be from when they open to when they close. So you can go again, get lunch there. So there's some flexibility in when you go. But some really good opportunities to give back while feeding your belly. And then we're gonna do something new this year. We're gonna do a gift card fundraiser, Regal Cinemas and Dave and Buster's. So you'll have an opportunity from December 1st to December 13th to go online and buy a gift card. The Dave and Buster's is by a $20 power up card, $10 goes back to OPA. And with Regal, it's ticket bundles, so it's 2 tickets for $30 and $7.50 comes back to OPA.
That's
So
great.
these can be shared with your friends and family who can then buy them. We can buy them here at OPA, so there's an opportunity for us to raise. I'm hoping for at least a couple $1,000s here if we can sell.
Maybe we could do a table.
Each.
Can we do a table in front of the school?
Yeah.
And sell them on like a
Well,
after school?
We could, but it's all online, so it would just be us having QR codes for people. We don't have.
Might help, I don't know.
Yeah, so I just submitted everything to Susan, so I was thinking flyers that have QR codes on them that can go home, that parents can easily scan to go online.
Market it well.
Yeah,
Comment from a room mom perspective. We, every year thus far, I usually have parents send gift cards for the teacher for like their Christmas gift because that's always the best turnout and people are like, oh, I don't have to buy a gift. You're going to put it all together. Perfect. So maybe even telling the room moms about this, if the parents want to buy their gift cards through this
Mm,
avenue,
Yeah.
could help a lot too.
that's a great
really
idea.
So we can have you do that, you can visit your parents, and then I can visit your parents, you can put it out in the room. And then everybody would have a, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. It is again.
so low hanging fruit. December is a busy month with some of the other events, but makes kind of Christmas shopping a little bit easy. We have people that you need to buy for and some good give back to the store. So that's what's coming up for the rest of the year. Any questions on the fundraising?
I think you've been doing an amazing job as your first year at MOPA in
Yeah.
January. Keeping in, so you're moving and grooving. Thank you. Volunteers are wonderful, Leslie.
Okay,
Take it away.
so I'm Leslie Sheriff. I am VP of Volunteers and Garden Ambassador. That part is okay, it's right. So we just completed the candy buyback. We had a great turnout. We decided not to sell off our candy this year to dentist office and places we have in the past. We decided to make it work for us here. We're using it for the Snack Shack, for Blackwell. We donated a lot to the military Bird Brave fundraiser that they just did. We have some for teachers treasure boxes, so we're kind of spreading that all around. We also want to, of course, thank you all the parents that stepped up and came to Fall Family Fun Night. We had over 65 parents volunteer. We had some raffles and some prizes for them, but that event's just not possible without all the parents. So that was really, really successful. So we really appreciate them. And upcoming volunteer opportunities, we have Blackwell's on December 3rd. So that link will be going out, and then Polar Express, which we're going to discuss a few of the details about that. That's another great learning opportunity on campus. And that's it for me.
Do you want to talk about your raffle?
No, I already did it.
Oh, you already did it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so Leslie will do a raffle for like volunteers and stuff, so encourages more volunteers and then really fun stuff. So
Sorry, yeah.
that's what I mean, like gift cards, to like, everybody wants groceries or whatnot, so.
Well, we've done certain things inside that we've had spiritware donations, or so we have those for the top 5 volunteers each trimester. So we've just switched to volunteers in the class or in the office. So we're kind of figuring out who those top 5 people work with this trimester. So that's not been published yet, but then we'll put out the names in the WOOF and our newsletter and on our social media.
So
Love
volunteer.
it.
You get stuff, maybe. Student development, oh,
No, we already did
yeah.
that. So on to
Sorry.
Spirit.
Well, Spirit. Aaron, take away.
Erin Rasband, and okay, for Spiritwear, things have slowed down, but we did for winter cooler months, we did just enter a new or loaded up a new sweatshirt. It's a zip up hoodie, has a little champ pesky silhouette on it. So hopefully we'll have some sales there. So for incomes, for Spiritwear specifically, we've taken in $5,035 in income, and so that's 50% of our budget. Expenses, we've had $3,435. That's 52% of our budget. So far we've had a profit of $1,600. And then, for used uniforms, which is 100% profit, we've met 86% of our budget with an income of 2,100.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so those sales have also slowed down as well. So, I'm not planning on doing any more used uniforms sales this year, and we don't have a whole lot of skirt wear inventory at this time. So I'm planning on doing one late used uniform sale late January, early February, because kids come back to school after a growth spurt. They might need some more help. So that's it. Yeah.
Do you think we should do like a holiday flash sale?
Well, so last year I did do flash sales because we had physical inventory that we needed to like move.
Okay,
This year, I mean, it's all
It's all
online,
just
so
the
we don't have a whole lot of physical stuff.
okay.
I got one of each at the beginning of the year to like, so people can see the sizes, and so I just haven't sold all of that. But like if we have like a large and tie-dye blue, if somebody orders it, I sell.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay.
That. So that's what I'm doing. So we don't have to advertise it. It's
Just advertise more. I'll
I'll buy my daughter a sweatshirt and wrap it up for Christmas.
Yeah. I posted on Instagram this sweatshirt, sorry, finally, so if hopefully we'll get inundated with sales after the post that I made today, but we'll see.
It's fun to do something like a social media that kind of talks about like different gifting opportunities or things kids need.
Let's
right?
Let's see if we can
Yeah.
meet.
Like
before
Dave
a
and Buster's,
couple of days.
Regal, and a hoodie
Fun little reel or something.
and a plushie.
Put it all together.
Do you have like some OPA hoodies on?
They're
them,
hot day to
something
the
that I can
spectrum.
fit in? Something and we'll
In
just,
your
like,
new sweatshirt.
the adult size.
Or your own or something.
I haven't about it.
Okay, so maybe we can like make yours. Try to think out.
The little
Promote it.
Dolls, plush, those are ordered too. We don't.
No, you
I mean,
have
we have them in stock, because for that, we had to buy 100. And so we have, I don't recall, like, it's a little less than 50 left. but
They're so cute. We have them.
Yeah, we all.
You guys have them? No.
Okay, so good for Christmas. Maybe we can make a reel for some stuff for the holiday.
Teresa.
Do you remember back in the day that we used to do used uniform drop off?
Yeah.
And remember, like they were in those crazy vests that we have, and
Those
then
like
we'd have the
coverage
big yellow bucket out, and so I don't know. Do you guys you remember that?
And I think maybe people aren't as though, when I talk to the younger coming in families, they don't seem as aware of the used uniform stuff. And then a used uniform sale pops up and they're like, oh, okay, but they don't know they can donate the stuff their kids grow out of necessarily.
Have something that occasionally, like, just,
Like a post.
used uniforms, right? We have like those.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
put it
just
up. Yeah, we
post.
put it up. Yeah.
Maybe let's put a post.
You know how we did the candy buyback? You know, it was just that short time.
Mm.
Maybe we can get people really excited about dropping them off before, you know, or after or whatever.
A lot of inventory. We have, well, we have a lot. It's the small sizes.
We could, it's a shed.
Yeah, the kindergarten parents, I think I need to do that right before holiday break.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, we should do that for one of
No, it's still-
holiday break.
People are like,
Or like-
That's a great idea before holidays.
Yeah. I'm trying to clean
Like perk
Um,
stuff out of your house.
Right, we have a question. Do you think on campus, there's like shed space
Oh, cleaning out the
or
closet.
closet
after-
space
Do it after break.
somewhere we could keep our used uniforms?
The big rack.
The rack, because we can't get in there to get all the other stuff.
I was
there.
told shed number 2 has a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
space right now.
I've been told.
Yeah, this is what I was told. I was told when we were talking about putting the walls away, they're like, why don't you put it in the shed so people don't touch them? And I was like, 'cause I don't.
Some stuff back into the seed container, so let me dive again and see what we have
Okay.
between the seed container and the shed. So we did a major difference in the seed container and we moved it,
Okay,
so my spot.
yeah, we just need like that rack and, you know, maybe like a bin.
And those are the two ones I want to make you guys. We're all put comes together, there was a student at SOC who had a start and was in need of over a year, and they didn't have any that student size, so of course our honor society jumped in and really that student helped fit into it. all the fantastic stuff that we have. So thank you guys for.
That's awesome.
Like a 24 I got a text from Mr. Lyon and you guys jumped in and we got stuff like 24 hours.
That's awesome.
Just to reiterate that, I didn't get any requests from teachers this year, but last year, if teachers ever see children not showing up in uniforms and suspect that they need that, I mean, it's just a donation. Just let us know, guys, and we'll get it.
Yeah.
the package together.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Erin. I think I'm excited. Our spirit wear stuff is doing good.
Yeah, that's a good shout out to Erin. She drags all that stuff up.
Yeah.
Have a nightmare
Yeah.
with her questionable internet.
That's like the beginning of the year.
Right.
and There was always a line.
Our custodial staff helps, so yeah.
They're amazing.
A lot to
The
get. all
ATM.
of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the ATM.
That's right.
No,
Call AAA.
Local angels, you know.
Okay, so that will bring us to committee reports, which I think we don't have any committees at this time, so we don't need that. Open discussion, unfinished business. If anybody has anything, now is your time.
I just wanted to confirm that we were gonna go forward with the Polar Express concept that we did last year. It used to be in the teachers' classrooms, and they kind of just said, we don't want to do that anymore. And so we took it over last year the first time. So we set up the whole hot chocolate bar.
That's great.
We had parents in each class have different time slots, so we coordinated when they're probably going.
more
We
electricity.
thought it worked well. I
Yeah,
actually
we had to
couldn't
pull more
follow that
power,
word Style, but I think that was a good process. I just wanted to know that's what we're doing again.
Does that sound
We took
like,
chocolate
So I'll
teachers.
plan, double check with them.
Remember.
okay,
I'll check with them today.
Okay.
I'm sure they're gonna say yes, please.
Yes.
yeah.
Any requests are different, anything new or different?
What day is that?
Let us know so we can start.
I don't know.
They could email, us if they have
Okay.
questions, like the committee, if they need us to support in any other way. I think we just did the hot chocolate, right? Outside.
Yes.
Well, we also helped with honor hall.
And cookies.
And
We did help.
Oh, yeah, we always decorate. Hey,
Yeah,
what day is?
we
Polar
roped
Express
in the
coming out?
moms and had time slots
13th?
in honor hall and stuff. Yeah.
And then Jingle Jam's supposed to be the 12th
At night or during the day?
at night.
Night, okay.
And then it's broken up from TK through second.
Maybe today. Finalize times and schedules.
Okay.
So
Um,
Fun.
Jingle Jam, yeah, we usually
I
have
think
it.
it's the same because we use the same decoration.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're, I think just like the training floor will have to like not because we'll need all the, space. But nice thing is this year for Jingle Jam. Air conditioning.
Oh, yeah. That also was very nice for the haunted house this year.
How much for not here?
Why didn't we use the courtyard and that beautiful stage we have out there and just set everybody up there? Why didn't they do that? Okay, well then they could have the,
Yeah.
you know, because it's so pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, and his wife does.
Is it expensive?
Let's ask if that's
Yeah.
appropriate and allow.
I don't know if that is.
We have a real Santa and Mrs. Claus sign for Polar Express, or is that too denominated?
Let me-
I mean, that's a book. They go on the best to meet Santa.
yes.
Yeah, on the train.
Yeah.
The idea of it.
We just stop at the train. That's just,
The train just sounds.
and that creepy conductor. And the creepy conductor, right? Which, yeah, the creepy conductor.
Up there.
Yeah.
The cookies, yeah.
Our Santa died.
I had another question.
They're already, the leadership team's.
Just tell me your thoughts for Blackwell.
To teach.
For December, I didn't know if you guys wanted me to include items that kids could buy, like for their Christmas presents to buy for their family. Would you guys like that, or the kids just want to get stuff for themselves?
I mean, like, some kids are very thoughtful for others when they purchase, but that's the rarity, I think. Yeah. no.
What's this for? I didn't hear.
It's a great
This is like kids playing the
to
marshmallow.
have a chance
Yeah.
to secretly buy a gift that you didn't take.
Oh, I
in
like that.
for-
That is
They
cute.
can hide it.
Because-
I think it's a neat.
Yeah,
And-
it's such a cool idea.
It's cute, right? Like,
that.
But would it be better served as like a separate opportunity? I know.
No, Blackwell.
Like separate of like, they can still, if they have enough money, they can still buy something for themselves. That may be the one time that they can buy two
two teams.
Mhm.
Buy something for yourself if you have enough money and for a family member.
We need to up the pricing.
This is going to be. Just one kid keep getting gifts from a lot of different kids, and some kids get.
And we need our parents.
Family
Yeah.
members.
Like to have an opportunity to like have this for my brother or something for Christmas that like my mom didn't take.
Yeah, or like a little bookmark for your mom for Christmas or whatever. it is.
Yeah.
We just need to up the pricing because there's so many kids that have like hundreds and hundreds. Okay, sure.
But that's good, 'cause it's like, they can buy two things. They have
Yes.
had in a while, they have a million tickets.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, that segues into another conversation we're having about the
Yes.
teacher dispersing of scholarships, because it's very
And they can't.
kindergarten, secondary, homework, and fifth graders. I mean, it's just very different, and so my kids have barely any, they spend something that we feel is high, Blackwell, to be honest, but then now prices are going up, it's like, there's kids not gonna be able to really.
And I'm gonna try and make the bigger items be more younger kid friendly. So like a whole big My Little Pony thing is 200, because they're the ones that have,
Okay.
and then you know what I mean?
I don't know. We have a lot.
Yeah, we have a lot too. Yeah, I know. My kids have a,
I don't know what she's gonna do with them next year.
yeah.
They have 320. I'm gonna try to remind fifth graders that they only have a few left, so that.
They better. stop.
Do we have like guidelines that the teachers follow specifically for Blackwells, or is that something we could reiterate?
It does kind of be, right? So we use it as that incentive, we kind of, especially in the younger days. It's like we go really heavy. Begin here, and it starts to taper off, right? So we're trying to build those like, those good habits. And we probably don't go as heavy with the older kids, because especially for our kiddos that have been here a long time, like they're to the level of the routine. So. Yeah, see the younger ones are probably a little bit heavier right now, and probably through the end of December, and then you'll see it taper off.
That's kind of the middle grades, and then fifth grade generally does tend to have more. We tried to do it 2 Blackwells only for fifth grade last year, but we couldn't find a day at the end of the year. It's crazy busy, because they do lose that year, so I'm trying to make the bigger prices.
I'm
for
sure
those.
it's like hard
Yeah.
to hit all the.
Does Mr. Nyquist, does he,
Oh, and he does 3D printing.
yeah, does he advertise that? Because like,
So
that's
I made
amazing.
Vouchers, and I'm gonna display at Blackwell's.
Oh, good.
He has an online store for it, so I'll give the little kids. vouchers,
Perfect.
And the older kids know how to go on, but we'll see the rate that that's.
Yeah,
Oh,
they could get something printed
Yeah.
with their stuff.
Tip here doesn't have to be like Blackwell's Day, like.
Yeah.
you can just use it and you can-
That's great.
Is that what these things are? doing? What's he putting
Yeah.
out?
And inflation.
Well, I wish they were getting-
Oh.
I hear him using that.
That's funny.
Uh,
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
All right. Anything else?
I have a really.
Yeah, go. Well,
Just
Tammy.
Yeah,
I know.
because you guys are in the room. Thank you guys for all the work you've done. I'm very novice to these meetings, and so this has probably been discussed before, but this school is so educationally focused, and I have been so impressed. My daughter coming here, we just like loved it. We've heard that the other campus has a library, and I know we don't have space for it yet, but what can we as parents do to like fund it, motivate it, help it along? You know, my kids are nerdy little readers, so like it would just make them so
I
happy.
got that. And we remember being shot down every single year asking to have one.
Asking anyone.
Not knowing the history.
Yeah.
So I noticed that too, when I came and Dr. Kierberg and I, in working together on the society, when we were at SFC, had specific conversations of how did you do this? How did this come to be? Like all of the, how did you build it? Conversation so that we are more educated on should that expand to SC obviously, and then the middle school would be my other focus. Like, how do we do that? How do we bring it to life? And so, and on the same token, like, how do we honor the other, the honor society, and really put a lot of time, attention, and money into it, you know? And so sometimes there are feelings when one honor society does something, and then we all think now it's a good idea, and then now we fund the other, and they're like, well,
Oh, I see.
did all the work. And so we don't want that to happen. So we want to be very conscious of that what I have asked at the beginning of the year is, I met with Dr. Henry, we met with Dr. Henry. And we said, we would love to see how we bring libraries to life for both SB and the middle school and support the SOC library, so it's not such a, financial obligation in their budget, and they can use their budget for other things, right? So coming into the budget portion of my year is March through June. So this would be the right timing. It came up as my need, one of my items is a needs assessment, and it's because we all at the central office and all the offices, we all went through our own needs assessment of in our space. What do we see moving forward or something again? And no right or wrong, like I appreciate everybody who got us to here, but you know, we're taking the ball forward. So we've asked the chancellor at this point in time to see where is it that we can find a space. And then more importantly, if that space is being occupied, then what else can we do to make this a priority? So out of the needs assessment, like priorities will come. And then we'll plot them over 3 years as to how do we put in the incremental steps to make some of these bigger things kind of come back to life or come to life. So we charged the 2 chancellors here on this campus to find a location, whether that's shared or not. And it could have to be shared at the beginning. You know, we don't know exactly, but come up with all those ideas that we could actually kind of get traction on it and move it. So nothing definitive, can't promise anything, but it is on my radar. It's been since I've gotten here. And then we.
Yeah,
Okay, been talking along.
To see how do we put in the structures to make it happen? And then to parcel out, like, really who would be responsible for what. So
Like, is there, sorry to interrupt, like X amount of money, like, we're saving 25K at the end of the year for our contingency fund. But is there, like, when you look at the needs assessment March going forward, would you be able to project from Honor Society, we would like this amount of money in our long-term budgeting to go towards that? Could you advise us on
and
that?
that would be the goal, and still for both, all of the other societies. So if yours is at the beginning, maybe a conjoined library where both sides of the campus can use it, which would be probably the most ideal as a start. And then what is it that the central office is going to put in place to make that happen first? And then what are you willing? I'm not gonna obligate you and say you have to do X, Y, Z, like that's not a good partner, but what are you as an honor society willing to do? And then when we have that conjoined meeting of the other honor societies, well, what's fair now, you know? And so they put in some of these infrastructure pieces, like you can purchase your shelving units that you purchased and, you know, kind of be good stewards over there too. But then how do we navigate who does what? You know, but we'll have those conversations with our leadership and your leadership as that progressing. But it is one of it has been one of my priorities.
And it's not just a library, right? It's a media center, because that's what's happening in schools these days. It's not you're just going to check out a book. You're going there and you're listening to audiobooks. Hopefully you can check out things, and like, yeah, there's workspaces, and it's a multi-purpose, multi-use room.
And it dissolved during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like.
And then it went to the middle school. No.
They needed the space.
Oh, for intervention. That's what happened. They needed the space for intervention. Mhm.
And then the books kind of are still somewhere on campus. They're all, and then
Yeah, they're on the stage, yes.
So in the first grade classroom, slowly getting them on the shelves there, so we still.
So you can use Scholastic.
There's still.
Dollars.
That's still a very large.
Yeah.
On the stage, those boxes that are all like on the ground, those giant boxes are still in the library.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give them some. Getting of them, but some would be like encyclopedias, because we use it as encyclopedia, right? So we've done some of those things of the books. But for like the 4 things for all across all grade levels, like we still have them. So when we have an opportunity to rebuild one, because I 2 kids that love to read, and so right now, from my perspective, it's just finding space. And that's what we're just really tight on.
But also for parents that might not know this, yes, we don't have a library, they'll miss it, but we have worked really hard at the board the last few years. During every book fair, we purchase books for each teacher to have their own classroom library, and each teacher has a space in their classroom where people can sit and read. They have their little cozy reading corner, so we have been trying to make sure that they have books available. I know it's not quite the same thing, but we're trying to make it, the best of the whole situation that we can have.
And so the last thing I'll just say to add on is that when you do something like this, there's many parts to making it come alive. And so I've even talked to the SFC campus about, like, well, if we had libraries back on campus, you have to have a certificated person, a librarian. So we are currently looking for that as well, like keeping our feelers out there to see who that person could be. So all of these things, if they do come together, they can come together at the same time frame. But in knowing that, like, I'm a very here to something that's like, I'm a very pre-planner. So let's like get everything that we need to know about this like down on paper so that we can account for it. So we understand the total cost of it, understand all of the component pieces, materials, whatever that we're today, even the like, and even like human resources that we would need to attribute to that. So we understand totally what we're looking at and really build that. So when we put it in place, it's actually gonna work, and we don't get one of those society, can you bail us out of XYZ? So, we will hopefully be able to put that together, I would say by this spring. And then we will be coming back, obviously, when we're discussing that work. You know, Mr. Wright can carry the message and kind of go through the proposal and the process that we would take and bring it back, but it is a huge priority for us.
This might be an ignorant question, but in terms of creating space, are we talking about like portable? To add a portable somewhere on campus to turn it to a library? Or
Like what kind of space? Like a shed?
yeah,
They've really done a good job of recognizing sea containers. Um, It's not an unreal thing. I mean,
We'll make it.
Yeah, we can make a sea container, right? You know, yeah.
portables, classrooms and our music, I'm just curious, like, if that's where, like, physically, we're just trying to figure out where to put the next portable.
Yeah, so as we look at the space, as the two chancellors are charged to look at the space allocation between the two sites and then work together to see how we could reconfigure things, maybe consolidate, you know, different areas. I know this year we actually consolidated there's all of your special services programs, and that would be your accessories, but also anything that your speech language, all of your other ancillary services in one room that's shared between the two campuses. So that we don't have to have two complete dedicated spaces for all of those things. And so if we can find ways to do that, then I think we could be much more efficient with the spaces we have, because we can't add any more. We're actually over the amount that we can actually drop portables on the campus. I think this one, when it's portable, when it's over and it actually blocks the fire lanes, we have to figure out the fire lane situation going back to the middle school. So we would have to work within the confines of what we currently have, and we just have to create, really taking a deep dive and look at more efficient ways of utilizing some of those spaces. And if we can combine some of the ancillary services that we have at both sites, then maybe we could free up a classroom space. I don't know where, that's up to you, but that's up to you and the CBO. I know that Mike Lauro is also working with the two chancellors to kind of to see. So I don't know where it's gonna be. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but we'll try to make it the most robust library, because you're gonna have to have classrooms of kids in it. And, you know, moving.
This one.
around.
Yeah.
And I
Give it a
guess
steam.
Along those lines of
Put it in with music.
space. Physical space. How do parents reach out and say, isn't there any way that we can allocate the funds we raise instead of like a marquee? Yeah, just simply the playground.
Yes.
And we,
Yes,
and that's one big, since this is a general meeting and other people might be listening, I've only heard just snippets of like how that works, because we lease the property from the district or something, and, or they said like maybe it'll be shade. So I don't know how that works, like,
So we can do any facility upgrade that we would think would be necessary to operate our schools.
We can
So
or can't?
We can.
We can.
We can. It does go through a rigorous process of approval. So first of all, we have to get approval from our land lease, which is SBUSD's, their facilities department and their superintendent had to sign off on whatever programmatic upgrade we want to do. And then we have to go through, depending on what it is, the Department of State Architect or DSA to get, because anything that deals with minor children, we want to make sure it is the ultimate grade safe. Once we put it in. So shade structure, even though you don't think that they're big, anything that goes over a certain height or student has to go into, it has to go through DSA. We both know, myself and, like, CBO, both of the processes to do that. We're more than willing to jump through the hoops to go through and go do that. Our first choice always is to obligate SBUSD or SLG's campus and Kaplan, Strana Unified, to obligate them to the things that they should be providing us, and that takes a little bit longer time for them to loosen up their dollars and bring some of those things to life. So that's always our first obligation. And the second obligation, if we want more than what they're obligated to do, then, send a list to Mr. Wright. We will then send it to our facilities department, and that would be Alfonso and Mr. Loro and the CBO, and then we can see how do we do that. We'll get the total cost of ownership of what it's gonna be, including all permitting costs. If you run electrical, whatever you have to do to make it come to life. And then we'll get that package together, and then we can decide, is it something that we, the central office, want to contribute to, or at least how can whatever our society help us.
Is there some of that on your needs assessment already, or we come up with that creatively?
That is, the shade structures that are code promised to us, as needs assessment to get done. Additional shade structures, should you want them, then we don't know what that would be or where that would be.
Right.
So that would be something that would have to generate from somewhere with the NC site, and it transfers up to the chancellor, which then transfers up to us.
So it's a possibility, it's just, we would need to see how much school costs, and I think that it seems like there are enough parents who are eager to see that happen. I think when you have the goal with fundraising efforts going forward, I think people will be probably very supportive of contributing towards that.
I think
I recognize that these kinds of structures, and I mean, they're very costly, so.
Are we able to save for more than a year?
We can earmark,
We can.
can't we earmark money for the fall?
Yeah, we don't have to zero out.
The capital campaign, so that would be something that is run through the central office. So if you say, we want to put an extra shade structure here, and we outline it, we get blueprints, we pass it, and SBUSD says, yes, we can do it. And then the Department of State Architecture will approve it, but they just approve the process that you go through to construct it, right? So capital campaign happens inside of CBO's office, our finance office. You would fundraise, attribute money, write a check to you, the school, SV, that goes into a budget.
It'd be similar to
Into
campus meeting.
a separate
Yeah.
budget code, an object code line item for your capital campaign, and then it's like the thermometer, you just keep ticking it up. Then you maybe say, well, each budget produces so much towards that, and then it comes to life, and then whenever you get enough money, then it brings it, and we just put it through the construction company, whenever you have it done with, and then,
Okay, yeah, I think
so
so too.
you can earmark money, but it channels through the SV budget and not necessarily like a foundation or
Is that
or-
a conversation we should have once you kind of are able to show us where your needs assessment priorities lie?
Absolutely.
And then we kind of come together.
And we'll refine like the needs assessment. You'll be like, oh, would you do this? You get all kinds of good ideas. So
What do you say that the goals for spring?
the spring to do that.
What about little things like the kinder playground has like no sand, no sandbox? Like, just, I mean, that's like really, to me, that's really low hanging fruit of just buying, some sand at Home Depot and filling it up. But what, is there a specific process with that, or is that something that Honor Society can support? How does that, is that one of those needs that should be through the school district? How does that work?
I think you can run that need through, put it on the needs assessment. Talk about it to see what we are able to do.
That's a pretty.
And wider.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a low hanging fruit for teachers that they're be some issues on the playground between kids because there's not enough
Mhm.
things to go around for them, and at Kinder, they're still kind of learning and social interaction. So we spend less on sand. And it, you know, can take away some of those battles on the playground.
Yeah.
It's pretty low.
So like the bigger, more expensive ones is putting all the, what like you just said, over,
Yeah.
just on the Kinder playground, we got some more put over here.
So
Um,
some of them have come home and shoes.
Oh, yeah.
In our elbows.
We can discuss it at our next board meeting.
Just before, and I'm like,
Yeah.
So, you know, so it's nice that, that obviously is the bigger thing, right? They bring in truckloads of that, like the little bag of sand, that can be, that's.
Focus test or, okay.
But the needs assessment is to ferret out those things, and things that we would not, like, if we're coming on campus and I don't play on the playground at the same level, like, I would not know.
Right.
But, so let us know, because we will definitely.
And sorry if I missed this, but the needs assessment, is that something that's going out to
Yeah,
us?
how do we
It has that happened, or is it not for?
Is
So
that,
it happens in the fall,
Yeah.
and, so Mr. Caldwell has the chance to be
Yeah,
on
no playground,
staff.
so they can actually follow it. I think it's just this. The board meeting is
But it's for, it's like you guys do
It's for
survey,
like
not
members of
us.
staff, Not for parents.
But parents will have an opportunity
Okay.
to absolutely voice their needs, or to do something different spot than we do.
Yeah.
You hear different things from your children than we do. So knowing that is really good, so we can actually.
Then you guys will put that out for us to fill in, or you do it?
Mr. Wright.
Okay.
Okay.
so like, when you and I talk about like different things that Honor Society wants to do, like.
Yeah.
So when we talked last Friday, like that all went through.
Our keep library, fantastic.
Honor Society, families, 'cause you guys do a great job, like. And we chat, and you're like, hey, Mr. Ray. That's great. So it just literally goes like, I finished talking to you, I come right in, I have a whole, like, document that is currently found in on my computer. And I just like go and I enter it on there, so it gets added.
Oh, sorry.
Added to that.
Okay, I'm not cutting anybody off. We can still discuss, but we do have to call the meeting to end because some have to go. But I still have a couple questions. So, but I will call the meeting to end because we did finish our agenda and we've discussed everything. Our next meeting won't be until January 15th, board meeting and general in February on the 12th, but it is 10:27. We do it. 10:27 a.m. on November 14th. We'll call our meeting to end. So thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.